The first time I visited Saigon was exactly a decade ago. I was with my family and I vividly remember sitting in a bus and my brother looked out the window and said, "Hey, look, a white person." Because at that time, Saigon was very homogeneously Vietnamese. However, nowadays, even in the more obscure parts of Saigon, you're very likely to find a long-maned Australian or a British hippie or a Japanese businessman. I mean, granted, they do contribute significantly to Vietnam's economy, but there are definitely some weird power structures at play. For example, a lot of the expats are seen as above the law or superior to the local people. Is this just a perpetuation of imperialism or a harmless white man's desire for the exotic? I don't think these questions really have answers, but they do warrant some thought, which is why we're here in District 2, also known as Thao Dien. In this neighborhood, there are very few local Vietnamese restaurants left. You're more likely to find craft beer or avocado toast. And I mean, I'm from LA, so once in a while I will spend 200,000 dong on a salad, though I will feel a little bit guilty just because I could literally buy a week's worth of dinners for the same price. But I really don't think that you can beat a $2 bowl of goodness, of love, of porky broth and fresh noodles. It's like holding a warm baby. The noodles are made from the owner's mom. She makes them fresh every single day and then delivers it to the restaurant. The broth is made from pork bones that are stewed for hours and hours on end. And then it's topped with fresh green onions and crispy shallots. Lots of chili. And then I always put more chili, a squeeze of lime in there, give it some acidity. There's a lot of different types of bun in Vietnamese cuisine. There's bun xèo, bun bao, bun ước, bun jam, bun bèo, bun, all types of buns. But this is a very special type of bun, bun can. So bun can is a type of noodle. It's very sticky. It's like the Vietnamese equivalent to mochi. It's made out of rice flour and water. They pound it, they knead it, and then they cut it by hand until it's like this thick noodle shaped form. This type of bun, you really gotta spend time to chew it. You know, it really has such a strong texture and it kind of holds the flavor a lot longer than something like pho or bún. It just like slips and glides and slides in your mouth and then it's chewy and you get the fresh herb. We shouldn't be losing places like this where locals and expats and anyone really can come and enjoy a cheap bowl of noodles that essentially is Vietnam. This is the heart of Vietnamese culture. And over here, we have one of the rarest sights of all, a Buffalo Wild Wings, right in the heart of District 2, Saigon, Vietnam. This type of establishment is probably the epitome, a symbol of the epitome of American culture. This place serves for people to gather and drink beer and eat chicken wings and watch sports games. And as you know, Vietnam is not exactly known for its football teams. It's really interesting because Thao Dien has kind of become a reverse Chinatown. I mean, the idea of Chinatown is usually a cultural hub for Chinese immigrants, but Thao Dien has become a haven for expats. Instead of plastic food stands and shabby craft shops, you're more likely to find an organic shop or a yoga studio. Another reason why Thao Dien is like a reverse Chinatown is because it's super freaking quiet. The Chinatowns of the West are known for their chaotic nature. And Thao Dien provides a really nice, calm and quiet contrast to the chaotic, almost deafening bustle of District 1. With the metro line set to be completed in 2019, running from District 2 to District 1, Thao Dien has become a center for urban development with sky-high apartment complexes and mega malls being built at alarming speeds. So Among all this development and gentrification, how do you preserve Vietnamese culture? We're here at Quang Bui, which is a family-owned restaurant serving elevated home-style Vietnamese food. Though the price range is a little bit more than what you'd normally pay for Vietnamese food, don't worry, this isn't watered-down tourist Vietnamese cuisine. Even though it's expat-friendly and very Western-friendly, they've managed to preserve the essence of Vietnamese cuisine. And to get an outsider's perspective on Vietnamese culture, I've invited my friend Brett, who's a filmmaker and expat living in Saigon, just to ask him some tough questions about my motherland. Why did you come to Vietnam in the first place?
I don't know, like most people, I did like a backpacking thing and I traveled around the area. I spent most of the time in that trip in Thailand.
Did you have the elephant pants and everything?
No, I still have taste. And I was just totally blown away by like the hospitality, the generosity that, you know, I was shown here. So I convinced my girlfriend to move out here with me. And we haven't really looked back. We had like one, you know, like the first day we were here, we had
Were you like, uh-oh, this is a big mistake?
Yeah, totally. We sold everything we owned in Chicago. I don't know, the culture is just so easy to engage with in a way, you know? Like
you think so? I feel like a lot of people say, especially about Saigon, that it's hard to kind of dig into the surface.
Right, like I came here and I was like, okay, where are the arts, right? Like where is the music, where is the culture, you know, where are like the young people creating new things? Those things are happening so often here. You may feel out of place as like the only white person in the room, right? But like for the most part, nobody's gonna treat you like poorly. People are gonna like accept you and be glad that you're there.
This place serves the type of food that I grew up eating every night for dinner, on the weekends for lunch. To me, this tastes like home. So let me introduce you this dish. It's a very special dish. It's steamed vegetables. And then this is actually called the poor kids food in Vietnamese culture. Because back then, meat was really scarce, so a lot of people had vegetables, but you know, not a lot of people could afford to get meat and stuff, so they would make this. So this is like a sauce made out of pork fat, dried shrimp, and nuoc mam. And what you do is you dip the vegetables into the sauce. If you're eating lunch, dinner, as a family, you always have can, which is like a soup. And this is one of my favorite cans. It's can khoai ma, which is it's a type of like taro that is extremely purple. We didn't up the saturation on this.
So everything is so colorful. It's like
I love how colorful Vietnamese is.
it's a very visual like
It makes it more fun
too,
to
right?
eat. Obviously, as an American living in Saigon, you're probably treated differently as the locals.
Being here, you know, I'm definitely like, I stand out, right? I'm like taller than most people. It made me feel uncomfortable a little bit, you know, like having people stare at you as you like walk down the street.
Right.
But if you like look at them and smile back, give them a nod, like acknowledge them, like it's always gonna be returned with like warmth.
Do you ever feel like you're treated maybe better than the local people?
Yeah, totally.
Or you have certain privileges?
Definitely, of course. Like I'm a photographer, and talking with like my Vietnamese photographer friends, you know, I'm always like, yeah, wow, it's so easy to, you know, get people to allow you to take photos. Like I'm always asking people, can I take your photo? And they're always saying yes, right? But when I talk to my local friends,
I mean, Vietnam is obviously not the most economically strong country. The locals do view white people as above them, and they are kind of not programmed to think that way, but I don't blame them for seeing it that way.
it's it's the way that the entire world has been
Right.
socialized.
I mean,
right?
but that doesn't mean that's how it should be.
Of course,
but
it's not the truth, but it is the dominant like thought, right?
Right. And so what do you think of a place like Thao Dien?
I think overall it's good. This space should exist. For Saigon to be like a modern metropolitan city, these places do need to exist. But at the same time, like I feel a little bit weird coming here, right? Like it feels like you can forget that you're in Saigon. I'm not sure that I really like that.
Like I see all this urban development and all these foreign companies investing in Saigon and all the Starbucks and things like that, and I think this is great because it has the potential to improve the infrastructure, improve people's lives. You know, where it gets problematic is where does Vietnamese culture fall within all of that? Because it's not like Vietnamese culture can't be modern.
Saigon is a really interesting city for that, right? Because it's like changing and developing
It's
so much, and
changing
it's
every
becoming
day.
so modern and international. I think you're always still going to have the corner Pho shop.
I think you're right. I think Vietnamese culture is strong enough. And even some place like this that is presenting Vietnamese food in a way that is still really digestible for
Yeah.
foreigners, you know, why can't Vietnamese cuisine be elevated to this price point?
Living in Vietnam as like a responsible foreigner is like engaging with a local, like my neighbors, you know, like knowing my neighbors, practicing my Vietnamese, you know, like jumping in when they're watching the football game and if they invite me in, you know, and like drinking with them, you know. So those are like my richest experiences here.
Those are some of my
Yeah.
richest experiences as a Vietnamese person also. And so I just hope those don't go away in this grand urban future of Saigon. And over here, we have one of the rare sights of all, a Buffalo Wild Wings in the heart of District 2, Vietnam, Saigon, Saigon,